So much said, I'm in too deep. Waters I tread can't catch my breath. A shadow chasing me, a game of hide and seek. Found they'll have a
All right, welcome everyone to another edition of Deconversion Stories. Just to let you guys know right off the hop here, we will be changing the intro so it doesn't have all the old information on it because we're only doing Saturdays now. So I'm looking forward to putting that together with Mikey and coming up with something pretty cool. Also, Mikey's not with us tonight because he's doing a Mother's Day thing with his wifey poo there, and I think they're doing it today so they can be clear for the schedule for tomorrow for the Mother's Day for their moms. So anyways, today we have this wonderful lady right here. Johanna is with us, who's as you can see written right down there, vice president of Faithless Hijabi. But that's kind of a little bit of a tip of the iceberg of everything that's involved here with Johanna. So we're going to get into it here in just a moment, but first of all, Johanna, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Now you're in Australia right now, I think. Is that where it was?
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
So it's literally you're in the future because it's Sunday there.
Yeah, about 11 hours, I think.
I think it's actually a little bit more than that. I think I calculated it to be like 16 or 18 hours difference between you and I.
I don't know if the flight is like 30 hours, so yeah.
It's ridiculous. But I think we got a lot to talk about. We generally do this for about an hour. If we tend to go over a little bit, that's fine because there's always a little break between the two shows. But let's kind of start at the beginning. Now, let's go back to your very, very early days. Can you tell us a little bit about how you ended up getting adopted and what all that was, and sort of the things you went through in the early stages, which led up to, religious belief and everything like that. And then we'll get into the deconversion and stuff like that after.
Right. So I was born in Australia, and my mother was 16. She put me up for adoption to the Salvation Army. Christians.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. And that was in Tasmania. My mother, who's Canadian born, and her Australian husband at the time, adopted me and took me back to Canada. Now, right away, it was obvious that I was different. I had Klinefelter syndrome, but I also had early onset hypogonadism as a fetal. So that caused a lot of issues, particularly around puberty age. But I never quite aligned in the typical male gender. My parents were always pushing that on me, disciplining me when I was
hold on. So they were trying to push that they wanted you to be male?
Yeah, my mother expected a male. That's what she adopted.
Oh, okay. So is that what was stated on the birth certificate?
My sex on my birth certificate was actually left blank.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. So that eventually got changed. I got the original one somewhere, but it eventually got changed, and now it's the female.
All right.
But yeah, so I never aligned with the typical Christian side of, God doesn't make mistakes. You're a boy. You got a penis. Blah blah. So,
I beg to differ.
yeah. So mistakes is a big thing he's good at. But yeah. So like, I would get disciplined. Now go back a little bit. My mother is a Catholic. However,
Okay.
she was extremely religious, beyond Catholic, right? She probably
Is she
was
still?
more. She's what we call a holiday Catholic now,
Okay.
right? Christmas, Easter.
Right.
Um, but in the past, it was every Sunday, and she was only Catholic because of her parents.
Right. That's usually how it
Right?
works.
Yeah. Otherwise, she would have been a Baptist or Pentecostal or something.
Okay. Should she lean to sort of liking that sort of those, I guess we'll say, arms of Christianity better?
Well, every morning during the week at 10 a.m., she'd watch the 700 Club. Like,
Okay.
never miss it. She'd watch Benny Hinn on Sundays.
Oh God.
Yeah. One of her favorite punishments for me was to roll up my pants and kneel on the hardwood floor on dry rice, reading out loud Bible verses.
Kneeling on dry rice.
On hardwood floors, bare knees.
Unbelievable. What?
Starting with Matthew.
I guess that falls in line with the whole we have to suffer, I guess, or whatever they tend to like. I don't know. It's crazy.
Suffer unto the little children, Mother Teresa.
Yeah. Unbelievable. Okay, sorry about that. Carry on.
Yeah, so puberty came for me quite a bit late. I think there was some sort of battle between which way my puberty was going to go, and came one out. Mom wasn't happy that I started developing breasts. We went to the doctors. She ended up getting me testosterone replacements around age 15. Back then, it was a little strip you'd put on your gums, and it would dissolve into your mouth. That was once a week.
That was testosterone.
I didn't like it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I did not like it. It didn't make me aggressive or angry. It just the changes were not working for me. So I started to refuse to take them. She got advice from our priest.
Of course.
Yeah. So a lot of things that I learned in my article, but I started off. I went to this 4-week Catholic camp, basically. I guess it's kind of like a reprogramming, I think, the way it was structured. That didn't really work. So by the time, before I turned 16, and this had to happen before I turned 16 in Canada, as you know, family law, at 16, pretty much, I get to do what I want. Unless ordered by a court, which is what happened. So she signed over her parental rights to the church, and I went into foster care run by the church. And then from there, I went through deconversion at the Gender Family Clinic in Toronto, and did that right up until I was 18. I aged out of the care, and carried on with my life and stopped the testosterone. And eventually I started working for General Motors while I was going to Durham College, where I was studying human biology. Sorry.
You were working for who? Can you say that? Can you repeat that part? Working for
General Motors.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I was working for General Motors. I was on nights, and then I had to go to school the next in the morning, and rinse and repeat. So, General Motors, the company I worked for, closed the doors after we went on strike for a second time in a year.
Mhm.
And so I lost my job. I was new into the union, so I was bugging really. I quit
Shitty.
school. Yeah, I quit school and tried doing sex work in Toronto. And
Oh,
yeah, it didn't work out. It wasn't for me. And anyways, I was walking home one night, and I was assaulted by four men. They actually did a U-turn in their car, got out and put the boots to me. I was in the hospital for a week. The cops blamed me for everything. Nothing came about it. I was
wait,
almost
the
dead.
cops blamed you.
Yeah. Now remember,
Why?
this,
Why would they even do that?
because of the way I looked. All right. So
Unreal.
remember, this is the late '80s, and if you remember the late '80s, there was that whole thing
Oh, I do.
with the blood, right, and blood donations, and the LGBT community was
Right.
attacked brutally, to the point where if you were just walking down the street, you can get a bottle thrown at you, just for existing.
Yeah.
So
We
I
had
sucked
issues
into
with that here too.
Yeah, I know you did. Yeah, especially there was a documentary about it recently, actually.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So, I fell into a deep depression, as you would expect, and I ended up couch surfing with some friends, and I came across the Catholic Church. Oh no, sorry, the Pentecostal Church in Oshawa, and I went in there to see if I could get some help or some food or whatever, and they put their arms around me and said, you're welcome here anytime. So we can help you. Of course, there's strings attached to that. And
Of course.
next thing you know, I'm a Pentecostal. I'm going to church.
Bing bang boom, and there you are.
Yeah, I was in church 3 days a week.
Oh, jeez.
Right? They found me a wife. They actually found me a wife. I got into one of the other members that had a roofing company, and I started roofing. I went back on the testosterone. I started identifying as male, and about in 1999, my wife and I separated, and I still believed, right? So the next few years, probably the next 10 years, I slowly drifted away from that, especially in the later years of my attendance at the church. They put me through a Bible study program.
Okay.
And it didn't really, it didn't really gel with me. It was like I started seeing stuff differently. How does this
How
happen?
so?
Why does that happen? Well, it's contradictory.
Oh, yeah, there's tons of that. Oh, I guess you didn't really realize how bad it was until you started studying the Bible.
Yeah, right. So it's like, for instance, Matthew and Luke have two different stories for the birth of Jesus.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And other things too. Yeah.
One has him running off to Egypt, and the other ones are just turned back to Nazareth.
Yeah.
Which is it? It's like, like that's pretty fundamental stuff. And there's lots of other things.
He's Jesus. He can do anything, right? Don't you know? Come on.
Man, he's in two places at once.
That's right.
They
were actually twins. Just nobody tells you that.
It's his twin brother.
That's right.
Lord Connery. Anyway, so where was I? Oh yeah, so I felt like I felt like I still believed in a God, a person, but I didn't identify with Christianity. I just thought it was bunk, right?
Sure.
So
you just basically still believe that there's some sort of a universal creator type thing, I guess. Eh?
I felt like I had to.
Okay. Yeah, I've heard that before.
So I went into Buddhism. I went into Hinduism. I tried Wicca for a while.
Me too.
Yeah, it's kind of cool, right?
Yeah, some neat stuff.
Sitting in the backyard with a candle by yourself is just weird, but anyway.
I still wear this. I'm not wearing either rings because my fingers are kind of too big at the moment because of the heat here. But I still wear this to sort of commemorate my time as a Wiccan. As but I grew away from that.
Yeah. The one guilty thing I did while I was a Pentecostal is I kind of put all evil things aside except my music. That was,
Yes!
a bit of Slayer, come on,
All right, Slayer's good.
Yes, it is. Angel of Death. Yeah, right on. Where else was I going? I just tried all kinds of different religions, and nothing fit. It all just seemed stupid. So probably about 2010, I had this conversation with my new partner, and I said, "You know what? I think I'm an atheist." And that was literally how I put it. And I started going online, and I found the ACA. I found Seth Andrews, and
good people.
A whole bunch of other people. And, I've had some back and forth with Matt Dillahunty a couple times, and we actually all met in person. They came to Australia on this Holy Trinity tour.
Right, him and Aaron and Seth.
Yeah, so I did a lot of volunteer work for the Atheist Foundation of Australia.
Nice.
So I get to hang out with them all the time, like really cool people, like
yeah, they are.
Hershey Ali at the time.
Oh, good Lord!
I know.
I don't know. She kind of slid right off. I don't know what the hell happened to her.
What the fuck, right?
I'm sorry. What? You're a what now? Okay. Suddenly you're convinced after years of not being? Wow.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Salman Rushdie, he was awesome. He was very smart, man.
Yeah, he was.
And then I became friends with Lawrence Krauss through the AFA. And we've had some...
Lawrence actually... surprise, surprise. Lawrence follows me on fucking Facebook for some reason.
Yeah, he follows me as well. But
yeah, he's responded to a couple things I posted out there. He's pretty interesting guy.
Who's really interesting to chat to is Robert Rice. He's
got a lot of really cool stuff. A lot of stuff that he's written too that is very interesting.
It was just disheartening that he voted for Trump.
Nobody's perfect.
Nobody's perfect. But when I came out as atheist, right, and after I started reading all this stuff and looking at all the YouTube and stuff, I became so fucking angry. Right?
It happens.
Yeah. I was an angry atheist. I was militant. I started attacking people religiously, and mentally that didn't do me any good, right?
No.
And
it's a phase a lot of people go through because they feel like they've been lied to their entire lives, right? So.
Yes, that's exactly how I felt. I felt like I've wasted 35 years of my life.
Yeah.
And then, of course, my whole gender thing. It's,
I probably lent into it.
It did, and the depression got so bad. And one day I was, had the Atheist Republic on in the garage while I was fashioning up a noose, and I was going to do it with it. And Allie Jackson. No, I'm glad I didn't as well. And Allie Jackson had just come back. She'd been away for a while. She had her own issues with security and stuff. But she started talking about her story and how everybody was supportive. I was watching the live stream chat, and I just made a couple of comments, and just the support I got through that and with Ali after the show was like it was so it was something I never really felt before, right? So I didn't go through with my plans. Obviously, I'm here, but I was still a bit militant, and that slowly changed. Whereas I was more into the epistemology of it. You know,
Right.
get other people to question and answer their own questions. And in doing so, that actually taught me a little bit more about myself and about I think it was about
Funny how that does
2000
that, eh?
Yeah, right. So 2018, I just decided to just let my gender be what it is, and I'm not. I mean, I identify as female, but
Mhm.
I'm not one of those woke people that give a shit if someone misgenders me. If I don't put effort into my appearance and someone misgenders me, that's my problem. I'm not going to get upset.
Well, I don't consider, like, I consider myself progressive and woke, but I use the actual definition of what woke is where you actually give a shit about
Yeah,
other human beings. In a nutshell, you give a shit about people and about the way people are treated. So
humanist
there's a lot of
values, exactly.
there's a lot of systemic racism, systemic bigotry. There's lots of all kinds of shit that's still rampant all around the globe, and I do what I can. It's a little, but it's enough, as long as other people are helping too, to try and dispel and get rid of, and you know. These people are
The regressive
bad
left,
people.
the regressive left, as I call them, they start off with some really good concepts and some really good ideas, and then they just go absolutely fucking off the rails. They think they're
There's a
on.
lot of extremists in every corner, right?
Of course there are. Of course there are. Like for instance, they've successfully stopped several universities from pursuing transgender brain studies in the U.S. because
They
they
stop.
feared. Yeah, they stopped the school from doing it because they feared that the results might not go in their favor and would be used to revoke trans rights. Right. So UCLA was one of them. Harvard was another. And the studies now went overseas. There's a joint. Anyway, it's quite interesting, the neuroscience of it. Just some of the studies I kind of wish that they, in their sample group, they also had gay men and women to compare as well, but they never did that. And I'm happy with the results, whatever they are. I mean, it's looking like transgender brain science will prove it's a new DSD in brain development. Just based on the physical characters. Now I know that there's some studies that say
There's actually quite a few about
there are.
on the transgender brain.
There are. Now there's some studies that will say that there's some differences, but it's not enough to make a big impact. But the brain is so unknown. Like this, we don't know what one little thing out of place can do, right? I mean, when Canada came up with the medication or something for epilepsy, you know, they did that by probing the brain.
Yep.
So they found a trigger whenever a person smelled burnt toast. I think you remember the commercial.
I think so. Vaguely.
Yeah. Part of Our History, I think the commercial series was called.
Yes. The heritage, Canadian heritage or whatever the hell.
Yeah. So I mean, the brain is so unique. It's so amazing that, you know, just a couple cells different can change the whole thing.
Oh yeah.
So
just one can do it.
Yeah. The way thoughts process, the way emotions are felt. You know, it's
and look what happens. look what happens when they have to sever the corpus callosum to the right and the left hemisphere to become individual, and you can develop, and it usually happens, like I think it's like 99% of the time, you end up with someone with two distinct personalities.
Yeah.
Because of the rewiring that happens. So
Yeah.
the brain it's crazy and amazing at the same time.
It is, yeah, and so many things can affect the brain. It's which ultimately is who you are.
Mm-hmm.
You can't change in here. You can change the way you think. You can be convinced how to perceive different things, or you can learn to accept evidence on things, like I did with religion. It was a long battle. I was stubborn about it. Oh my God, I was stubborn about it. It's like, no, I had to believe in God. If I didn't believe in God, I was more fucked up than anything, right? Sorry for my language.
Oh,
But,
it's fucking fine. Don't worry about it. We
no,
do it all the time on the show.
I've seen your show.
Okay, well, there you go.
Yeah, so yeah, I didn't want to be any more abnormal. So, but now I've learned to accept, hey, I'm unique, and I don't care if someone doesn't like it. That's not my problem. It's theirs.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
fuck them if they can't take a joke. I always say.
That's it.
I don't always say that, of course, but you know what I mean.
Of course. I started doing some work with Atheist Republic, mostly just moderating. And then I met Zara K online. She was in Australia. Actually, she was in Tanzania, held up by authorities there.
Oh,
and I had some,
really?
Yeah, she got arrested in Tanzania on trumped up charges for.
I remember that, actually, now that you mention it.
Yeah. And I had some political contacts, state senator and stuff, which I petitioned, and I went to their office and I said, look, Johanna, can you, oh, that's not my area. I said, yeah, but you're in the state government, you know people that I don't know, and you can get in touch with them. And, she did. Now, the Australian government tends to not give too much of a shit about Australian citizens abroad. Mm-hmm. Unless it becomes a public interest thing.
Or you got enough money.
Yeah. If you got money or if you become an embarrassment. But by them not doing their job, right? So eventually she got out, and now she's in Sweden and happy. So she comes to me and she goes, "Oh, how would you like to come work for us at Faithless Ajabi?" And I said, "Well, I'm not an ex-Muslim." So
doesn't mean you can't stand behind them, and she's absolutely right about that.
And now I get that same question. I always say, "Well, look, I might not know what it's like to be an ex-Muslim, or to be a Muslim, or an ex-Muslim, or living in an Islamic society. But to the people that I've helped and the stories that I've heard, I have that understanding and empathy to be able to be a voice for them."
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty much what mostly I'm doing. And I'm in the background. Like after the show, I'm gonna get on and do some website stuff. But yeah, the video editing and things like that. But otherwise, I'm pretty quiet. Yeah. It's 2021. I ended up with a stalker.
Oh, really?
So I had to, yeah, he was an Indian nationalist. He was going to university in Sydney, and he was harassing me online. And one day he sent me Yeah. Well, I pay no attention. I get that all the time. Right? Death threats and whatever. Um, Hindutva, nobody's more butthurt than Hindutva. They just, um, they're almost worse than Islamists, I think. Um, so I already had lost my Twitter account through Hindutva attacks,
Oh shit.
as well as Armin and Susanna over the Sexy Kelly thing.
Mm-hmm.
So one day he sent me a photo on WhatsApp, which I took off my Facebook page. And it was a picture of me walking to my Jeep at the shopping center near my house, like 2 blocks from my house, 10 minutes after I had done it. And I was shit scared, man. I was like,
yeah, I would be too. That's fucked up.
So I went to the police. They turned it over to the Australian Federal Police. They got their cyber crimes into it. Found out he was involved in an assault on a taxi driver during a farmers' protest in Sydney.
Mm-hmm.
And they arrested him. And what pisses me off is in a plea deal, they dropped the charges against that involved the stalking charges. There was 2 of them. They dropped those 2 charges if he pleaded guilty to the assaults. And I think they've done that. I think they've done that because it was easier to win. So anyway, subsequently, he got a year's prison. And
a year, that's it.
Well, 6 months technically because he was in remand, so every day counts as 2. So he got out after 6 months, but as soon as he got out, they deported him. And then he received a hero's welcome on the parade in Delhi when he got home.
Oh my God. Wow.
Yeah. So officially, I can't say he was actually stalking me because he was never convicted of it.
Fuck that. He was stalking you. If you have a picture that he took of you walking to your fucking Jeep, he was stalking you. No questions asked. Or no, nothing else needed. Like that's evidence right there.
100%. However, that couldn't go into the article. So that's where I'm at. And now I'm here, and I'm really kind of angry at myself because I've let it affect me to the point where I'm not as active online anymore because part of me is still a bit scared, right?
Mm-hmm.
Religion.
You know what?
I live in a very high population of Muslims in my neighborhood.
Oh, in your area. Okay.
Yeah, both my neighbors are Afghani. My one neighbor, though, he's gay, and he's still a practicing Muslim.
Wow.
Yeah. My other neighbor, he's pretty cool. He helped me do the Shahada a couple of years ago. Mm-hmm. So I officially became a Muslim, which lasted 3 days.
That's like the title of a new TV show, Muslim for 3 days.
Yeah, well, he wouldn't let me record it because my idea at the time was I wanted to be an apostate in every religion.
Oh, I like that. That's funny. That's awesome.
Right. So Islam was the box I needed to tick. I do have some Jewish heritage. So
that's what I grew up with.
And I can't be an apostate for culturally Jewish. I can't help it. But
I'll tell you this: most Jews today, I'd say at least 65 to 70% are secular. Anyways, most of them don't really believe in the God anymore. But there are a chunk of them, that still do, of course, and they're the ones that are. Well, not all rabbis still believe either. I just found that out, but it's like priests. Really? Some priests don't even. Yeah, like some priests I've known and had on the show stayed preaching and didn't believe. Like it happens. They're people. You just fall away from it because one day your brain just goes. this doesn't work. I don't like this. This is weird. You know,
Hmm.
it's all wrong, right? So
David Bell comes to mind.
who? David Bell?
David, yeah,
Not familiar with that.
he helped with the clergy project.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I do
So,
have
yeah,
a link to the clergy project below,
mm,
of course, because recovering from
yeah,
religion
he
is
was
also mixed in with it.
he was a Baptist preacher, I think, from
Sure.
memory.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Like
and
I've heard
now
of him, but
he's
I don't really heard spoken to him or anything. So
yeah. So that's me in a nutshell, really. Kind of boring. Um, I like to do more. I'm on some. I'm on my meds at the moment, and I think I actually doubled up on my meds today by accident. But so I'm a bit. Um, if you don't know what Vyvanse is, it's basically amphetamine for ADHD. So,
right.
yeah.
I think a lot of people from our generation probably have ADHD. I think we're the ones that they started giving that as a reason to why we're so bloody hyperactive as kids, right? Because I'm a little older than you. I was born in '66, so you and I are both Gen Xers, and that was like the foundation for starting to look into why we were the way we were as kids. I even went on what do you call it? Ritalin. They even had me on Ritalin for a while until
I didn't go on any medication until about a year ago.
okay.
So
Well, I just meant when I was a kid and the whole attention
yeah,
stuff. They were just learning about that stuff at that point, though. It turns
yeah.
out I got off it like almost a little under a year later because I guess my mom had overheard somebody say, "Yeah, you shouldn't put kids on Ritalin."
No, it was overdiagnosed, I think.
Yeah. I
I
don't know. I can't
mean,
remember. Probably due to the Ritalin.
yeah, but growing up in the 70s and 80s, it could have been other factors as well. So, I remember LSD was my friend.
Who was your friend?
LSD, come on.
Doesn't ring a
No,
bell. No.
you don't know about LSD?
Oh,
Magic
Ellis. I thought
mushroom?
you said Alice D. I'm like, who the hell's Alice D? LSD. Okay, I got you. Yeah. I tried that a couple of
Yeah.
times. Didn't
Oh yeah.
didn't like it that much. Same with mushrooms.
Oh, I
Mushrooms actually
loved
made me
it.
throw up every single time. So I'm like, yeah, I don't like throwing up,
Really.
so I'm not going to do that anymore.
Yeah. No, throwing
Stick in
up.
my weed. That's it. That's all I need. Bag of weed. I'm good.
See, I can't do that.
Right there.
If I try, I just
Devil's
fall asleep.
lettuce. Really? I love it.
Yeah.
About 80% of my lyrics were written while I was high. So,
Oh, really?
yeah.
Well, that's a lot of artists are like that. So, a lot of the shit I've written would be from mushrooms, and it's not publishable. It's not even comprehensible.
Not surprising.
No. Yeah. So that's. Oh, another thing about us growing up in the '80s is we were never home.
Nope.
We were always out across town on our bikes or
Yep.
hanging out at
Doing
the shopping
something.
mall. Just come home
Yep.
by the time the streetlights come on. Drinking from the garden hose.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. You betcha.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Or we're all hanging out over at somebody's house or in the backyard because they had a pool or something like that. And
Yeah. And now you
riding around
can't
on
do
our
anything
bikes.
without. Yeah. Now you need a play date.
Yeah. First time I heard it, I'm like, a what?
Yeah.
Well, we have to set up a date for our kids to play. I'm like, why? If they want to play, let them fucking play. What are you doing?
Yeah.
What?
Or
Does he have
going
a
to the
bike?
park.
You don't need to drive them there. Fuck, let them take the guy. Yeah, but things are. I think different now, and I think a lot of parents are afraid of that possibility that their kids could be scooped up and taken away, which
But you know
happens a
what?
lot more
Uh,
now than it used to. So
I don't think it happens more. I think it's the fact that the information is out there faster than it used to be.
well, that too, plus we have a population increase, so it technically
Well,
does happen more. But
yes, okay.
yeah, word didn't get out as quickly, of course, back in those days when you and I were younger, because we didn't have the interwebs at the time. So it was all
Mm.
oh, did you hear? The Joneses kid got kidnapped. Like that's what it was. That was our method of finding out stuff.
Yeah.
What was that?
What's that?
I thought I heard a horn or
I,
something going off there.
yeah, that was my WhatsApp notification. I just shut my computer speakers off.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Zara's messaging me. So that's not important. So, yeah, any questions?
Well, no. Well, I told you I don't really prepare questions. I mean, I didn't really think of anything that you didn't already cover off the top of my head. I do. When you first got into that Pentecostal church that you first went into, how did they realize you were who you are, or did they sort of find out? And if that's the case, how did they handle that sort of information?
Well, first they laid hands on me and prayed.
Right.
Told me that's not my fault. I'm being punished for my parents. Yeah. And, I'm a punishment to my parents. Yeah. So, but you know what it is. I mean, if your parents commit a crime against God, then it's my fault.
That's wow.
I tell you what,
I mean,
the one thing I could not do in church, no matter how much I wanted it to happen, was speak in tongues.
It's funny. It is, and I always ask them when they do it. When I've seen people do it, and I go, "Hang on, I'm sorry," and I'll have recorded it because I've done that already with my phone. I record what they just said. I go, "Listen, I missed most of that. Could you do that again?" And then they'll repeat it. I need you to repeat it exactly as you did because I want to make sure I understand all this. And they repeat it, and then of course it's nothing at all like the first recording that I have of them. So, like it's like, come on, really? It just sounds like
the weirdest
gibberish, anyways.
It is, but the weirdest was the people that would fall on the floor and start rolling around, and that was hard to take. I couldn't.
I would crack up. There's no way I could sit there and not laugh my ass off.
Do you know how hard that was?
I can imagine.
I peed myself a couple of times. I'll tell you. It was just the most hilarious thing to watch. And this is me. I was convinced I was a believer.
So what do you think it was that unconvinced you? Like, what was the first thing that kind of made you go, okay, why do I believe this?
Yeah, well, so when I was going to the Bible study program, which lasted 2 years, I constantly had questions, and I was never satisfied with the answers. I just it didn't gel. It's something's not right. So she was, and then don't read it literally. It's metaphor, or it's something else. You know what I mean? Like, it's just so much bullshit. It's like you're bullshitting over bullshit. Yeah, you're putting more bullshit on top of it.
Pile it up in the corner. Yeah, it's funny because they say, oh, it's all metaphor. Yet when you talk into the moral argument, they point right to the book and they say, well, you can't be moral if you don't have this, you know, if you don't have God. I said, but I thought it was all, you know, metaphor. What do you mean?
Yeah.
Are your morals metaphorical now too? What?
Yeah. Yeah. Slavery. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here's a bullshit sandwich. Enjoy.
They're trying to, in the chat there, they're saying that I'm always recording people. No, tons of mice. It says, never tell Neil a secret because he's always recording you. I'm not always. Technically, right now, everyone's being recorded because we're on YouTube. But usually, if people say they're going to do something or say something, and I'm like, and I think it's a load of shit, I will throw it on secret record on my phone, and then I'll bring it back to them later on if it's with the bullshit of the talking and speaking in tongues or whatever, or they make a claim and then I bring it back on them later and I say, see, you said that claim and now you're telling me you didn't. It's like,
yeah,
you know, like sometimes I do that, not all the time.
That's a good tip.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's what I do. I throw it back at them when I get to shove it in their faces. I guess, I don't know.
Well, I do that at work. If I'm talking to a builder and he says one thing and then comes back to me later on and says, why did you do that? I didn't tell you to do that or whatever. I can sit there and go, actually, you did. There you go.
Here's the evidence. There you go.
Yeah. Well, what do you do? I mean, I'm one of 5 roof shinglers in Australia, and I'm the only one that's certified. I know what I'm doing. I know what needs to be done, and if you don't like it, you know, fuck off. Hire somebody else.
Yeah, no kidding. So is there anything you wanted to talk about that you didn't get into?
Mental health. I think.
Well, you dabbled. I mean, you were saying about how growing up with the intersex stuff and kind of weighed a little heavy on you with the mental illness type stuff. So do you want to talk a little bit about that, or like where are you at now? Like, where were you and how did you end up where you are at now?
Well, currently I still take part in recovering from religion groups.
Yep.
They're a great organization.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I find a lot of benefit from it because, you know, when you leave a religious community, quite often what happens is you leave by yourself and you got nothing. Mm-hmm. No support group. It's all gone. So what do you do?
That's actually a majority of the time.
Yeah. And it doesn't matter if it's Islam, Hindu, Christian, whatever. You're going to lose people. And people that you care about. And unfortunately, they'll put their religion first. 80% of the time, I think. Unless you come from one of those wishy-washy Christian families or whatever that, you know, they believe, but they don't care that much.
Yeah. You're almost like just the traditional stuff that they go for, the holidays and
yeah. Like my mother, it's a holiday Catholic.
right.
Yeah, Christmas and Easter, the only time you'll see her in church, but before, fuck, every Sunday.
What do you think changed in her to create that sort of new persona, I guess?
I don't know. I really never really asked.
Okay.
I think because it might be a touchy subject for her, but I tie it in with the death of her parents.
Okay.
Yeah, because you know, optics is everything, and to my mother, and what the neighbors think, what her parents think, especially, were extremely important. Interestingly enough, my grandfather spent the early part of his years in one of those boarding schools for Native Canadians.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, and he took on the name of the founder, which is Langevin or Langevin, it's pronounced. But yeah, so which is
Wow.
weird. He was a strict Catholic. He was a successful conversion or reprogrammed person because of that. So
That's what that was all about,
um,
anyways. So yeah.
yeah, yeah. But I think he might have been an infant at the time that they took him, so he has no memory of his family. So
Right.
his heritage is Algonquin,
Okay.
which is Ontario Canadian.
Yep. It runs in the
Ontario,
U.S. and Canada. They're
yeah,
both.
yeah.
You know, it's
Yeah.
funny.
So,
You mentioned with the First Nations folks here in North America. I think it's a little different in the U.S., but up here in Canada, none of the Native people here in Canada ever signed anything that they would be a part of Canada. They still have their own sovereign nations that they live in. So they don't, a lot of them, some do, because they, there's reasons why. Some of them they had successful brainwashing in those schools we were just talking about. And other ones just went, whatever, I'm Canadian now. But many of them don't even identify as Canadian. They just identify as who they are, their people and their tribes or whatever of who they are,
yeah.
So it's
Yeah, my
it's
ex, she identifies
fucking
as
humans.
Chippewa.
Why we do this to each other, I never understood that and never will. Like, just
well, that's the whole.
I mean, I know
mission
why.
statement of,
I don't understand why they do it.
that's the whole mission statement of every religion is, we want to convert you. If we don't convert you, we don't want you here. Basically, so it's.
I don't think Jains think that way, but a majority, especially the Abrahamic ones, Jains don't really care.
I can't seem to find a problem with Jainism. Really, it's just weird. But
well, there's some wooey pseudosciencey stuff involved that could be problematic.
Well, of course there is. Yeah, but in terms of how they treat other people, I don't know a whole lot about it. But
talk to him at Meta.
He'll tell you. I should actually, because he grew up in Jainism.
He certainly did. I had him on the show.
Yeah, he was on Jeopardy once, I think.
Yeah, he won.
Anyway. Yes. So I'm kind of out of the loop with a lot of stuff in the atheist community, outside of Islam.
No, stick with us. We'll get you in there for sure. Mixed in with all that.
Cool.
You're going to meet more people in the after party, so you don't have to stick around for long. If you've got stuff you got to do, you can stick around for however long you want. You say hey to everyone and exchange some stories and stuff like that. This is basically what we do, or we talk about cool stuff because we're kind of nerdy and we talk about all kinds of nerdy things. So,
absolutely, sounds fun. Yeah.
Yeah, like I'll give you two examples in one display: Star Wars and Lego.
Well, two things. I love Star Wars.
Yeah.
I got a 1977 12-inch Ben Kenobi sitting right up there in a glass box.
Oh, no way. Awesome.
Yeah.
Man, I had all the figures and shit, and my mom and dad got rid of them at a garage sale.
Yeah, that's roughly how mine went. As for Lego, that's my favorite torture device.
I have a t-shirt that says pain scale. It says, no pain, middle bit of pain, and then at the end it's got a Lego brick. It says maximum pain, right? So yes.
Yeah.
I just love Lego, man. I don't know if you can see right there. That's stacks of Lego boxes.
No way. Do you get that TV show Lego Masters?
I've seen it. Yep.
Yeah. I never really watched it, but I saw some commercials. It looks pretty cool.
I follow a couple of the guys who are on that show on YouTube on their shorts and stuff like that, where they get to build neat stuff. 2 of them end up working for Lego and hosting like kids' birthdays parties and stuff like that. Yeah. It's a lot of fun.
In the shopping center, not far from my place, they just
X-Wing.
have a big, huge Lego display of life-size Star Wars.
Yep.
Characters. I was like, I want to go see.
They have at Legoland, at whatever one you end up going to, but especially the one in Denmark, they have some gigantic Lego like figures that they build, including you name it. Like there's Lord of the Rings stuff, there's Star Wars stuff, and they're huge. And they have people that have to go out there and clean them every other day because of the weather and whatnot, right? And they have to replace bricks on them once they start fading, because after a while, Lego bricks will fade because of UV light, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a hell of
You could spray them with a UV protective spray, but
yeah, you can.
Yeah. Well, that's another addiction I don't need.
Well, we can. I think we could probably wrap this up, Joanna, and get into an after party. We do take a bit of a break. Like I don't usually get it going till about 6:30, so you get a break to go have a quick bite if you want, or a bio break, or whatever you need to do. And then I'll start collecting people up. Since I'm the only one here, guys, you will have to send me requests for the link to join the after party if you want to be involved and meet this wonderful gal here, Joanna. So I'm sure there's lots more we can talk about and have a little bit of fun. So we'll get to do that. And I just seen my good friend, producer Wes, in the chat, who I do call-in shows on Wes's other channel called Skeptic Haven. So usually every other Sunday I'm on there with somebody taking people's calls. And we had a crazy one last week, I'll tell you that much.
Are you still part of the ACA?
I am right there.
Cool.
I haven't done anything with them for a while. At the time, the reason was because my mother had fallen ill, and I was dealing with a lot of her stuff. And they haven't come to me and asked me to come back yet, and I haven't really done much with them. I've taken up more with Wes and his channel, and the folks that he works with there. So
yeah, cool.
Wes lets me go on whenever I bloody well want to. He's like, oh yeah, so we'll put you in, and we'll put you in there with Elliot, or we'll put you in there with Secular Rarity. We'll put you in there with whoever I want, or whoever he has lined up. And I'm hoping to do one with Aaron soon. That'd be kind of cool. And when I hit the Baja Con in August, I'm going to be meeting Forrest Valkai, so I'm going to talk his ass into coming on to the show finally, and see if he wants to do a call-in show with me over on Wes's channel too. He usually does the line, like that's where Matt and everybody went after ACA with Jimmy Snow. They do the line and stuff like that. And I've done an episode with Matt on there.
You and Aaron would be a really interesting conversation, so that would be interesting to watch.
Me and who?
Aaron.
Me and Aaron. Aaron and I are pretty good friends. So whenever we end up at the same conventions together, you'll always see us hanging out and having beers or whatever. Well, I can't really drink much anymore, but we have a lot of fun together. There's a whole video Aaron and I did in the this place, actually. Funny, the Royal Tyrrell Museum in Alberta, where we did a little video. I basically filmed him talking about different species and stuff like that, and it was a lot of fun. You can hear me make stupid comments in the background every once in a while too, which is kind of funny. But yeah, Aaron's good people.
Those fossils were put there by Satan to fool you and fill you with doubt.
Of course they were.
Yeah.
Anywho,
Yeah.
we ended up doing the whole hour here, so we're doing good here. Johanna, thank you so much for coming and sharing your story with us. A lot of that is pretty
Thanks for
personal.
having me.
It's a pleasure, and I'm glad you actually found me and then came to me and talked to me. So I'm pleased that you did that, and I'm pleased we had this opportunity to get together. I'm sad that Mikey wasn't here because he would have loved being here too, and I'm kind of hoping he pops into the after party at some point. And usually when he's doing family stuff, he does. It's usually a little bit towards the end. So you might get a chance to say hey to him as well.
Well, I'm just happy I didn't cry when I was telling part of my story. So
crying is fine.
That happened.
It's just the way we deal with it.
That happened last week, and it was really nice. It was really good to do because I haven't done it before. But yeah.
Well, you get to meet a lot more people in just a little bit. Guys, we will be doing the after party. If you want to be involved, let me know. All of the guest links are in the description box below. I put a bunch of them there so you can, I'm not going to say stalk because you've already had to deal with that. But you can follow Johanna on X and Facebook and the Faithless Hijabi that's right there as well. I got all the links there. I got her Wiki Alpha page down there as well, which talks a little bit more about what she went through in her life. So you can check that out for sure. Links to the after party are in the description box. If you just want to watch, you can click that and go hang out and wait for us. And thank you everyone in the chat for hanging out with Johanna and I. And we appreciate you being here and contributing to the story. Also, a huge thank you to our amazing patrons. You guys are awesome. We couldn't do this without you. So thank you so much. Yeah, I guess that's about it. So until next time, guys, like I always say after the interviews part, like the late, great Christopher Hitchens once said, it's called faith because it's not knowledge. And we'll see you guys next time.